Hey guys, welcome back to the Thoughtful Advocate podcast. I'm your host Elizabeth Teo, and today we're diving into Google's top questions about parenthood, but with a plot twist. I never saw myself as someone who's wanted to be a stay-at-home mom ever in my life. I've always wanted to be that independent career woman, getting that bag. But ever since I had my son Ace, it's been like the most fulfilling thing I've ever done, and the happiest I've ever been. So I know it can seem a little backwards, but if I could, I would totally be a stay-at-home mom. Because I love spending every moment with him. Every time I wake up, he's smiling and giggling at me with his two little teeth at the bottom. And it's just the best feeling in the world. Unconditional love. Like, not having to do something in order for someone to love you is like life-changing for me. So yeah, every time he wakes up, it's like a little smile and then giggles and then he'll crawl to me and it's the sweetest thing. So yeah, we're gonna talk about the huge unexpected joy and fulfillment of motherhood and why I'm dreading going back to work. So you're probably wondering what is the most Googled question about having children. Besides the negative ones, which I filter out, they're real questions, but I've already talked about them in Should You Have Kids? So check out that YouTube video. So one of the more positively framed questions is, what are the benefits of having children? But seriously, that first smile, I think it was towards the end of his first month of being alive. So we got his first little smile, and it's just so rewarding because in the beginning, it's really tough. He's like waking up every 2 hours. You just don't know, and when he wakes up, he's crying, right? So we don't know if you're doing a good job or not, or if he's happy. So once I saw him smile, I was like, okay, maybe we're like doing okay. Because obviously we're first-time parents. So what are the indicators? Like, I don't know. A smile is a good indicator to me. And obviously that he's healthy. But yeah, his smile is my most favorite thing in the world. It truly melts my heart and just makes my day so much better. Other specific moments that I really cherish and I wish would not go away is when he laughs at peekaboo. He actually started playing peekaboo. So when you play peekaboo, I was like, let me see. Hold on a second. Okay. When you play peekaboo, like it's usually the adult three, like going like this. And sometimes I say peekaboo because I have bored of regular, peekaboo. And so eventually, like he started doing this by himself. So I'll put it on his face. I know I'm gonna get comments, but I'm literally right there. So I'll put it on his face and then he'll take it down himself and then he'll start laughing. He'll take it down himself and then he'll start laughing and I'll say peekaboo. But it's cute because like he'll remove it from his face, which I think is a good survival skill because he's learning how to remove objects from his face, which can obviously cause suffocation and other issues. Other favorite moments are when they grab your face. So they do a lot of like scritching is what I call it, but it's like scratching the wall, scratching you. I had a bunch of cuts and stuff. And they'll also try to feel your face. Anyways, he does that grabbing the face thing. Apparently it's to show that they love you back and to recognize the face that's taking care of them. Anyways, so he's gotten better at not scratching too much the face, but when he's tired, he will scratch. So lately it's been like more soft touches, which is really cute because he has little hands and they're so soft and you just kiss him. And he's very cute. And at that age, they just think that you are the whole world, which is a huge responsibility, but also very sweet. And in those moments, it just feels like the world and time just stands still, which is very blissful. Okay, so this is another top Googled question. How do I bond with my baby? And yeah, this is a great question because I also was wondering the same thing. You're staring at your baby and you're like, what do you do with them besides kiss them and eat them up? So the number one tip that we get from whether you've gone to the hospital or doctors or pediatrician is skin-to-skin contact, especially in the beginning. Apparently skin-to-skin contact is really helpful with babies because it helps level out their blood pressure and just lets them know that you're there for them. And it's also, I'm sure, like a calming sense to be hugged and release oxytocin, especially at that age. When you've been like swimming in the womb for so long, you're in a warm body of water or in a warm pool, and then you get probably like cold. So it's nice to have that skin contact, and that offers a lot of bonding. And they often suggest the father to do it because the father obviously doesn't get as much time, especially if the mom is breastfeeding, then the father gets like less time. So for that bonding moment to happen with the father, they have to do skin to skin contact as much as possible. And also, my baby was born like a bit early, so he was preterm, and his blood sugar was a bit low when he was first born. Luckily, they leveled it out. They gave him like some kind of intense glucose sugar thing. It's like red, and they dropped it in his mouth, and that helped stabilize his sugar levels. But yeah, they also really emphasize skin to skin contact too with the sugar levels, and breastfeeding, of course. Another huge tip that I kept reading about was talk to them constantly. So this even starts in the womb. Talking to them, singing to them, reading to them. They will start to recognize your voice, and especially when they're out of the womb too, it's great to talk to them as much as you can. Hey baby. I miss when he could fit into one arm, but now he's like huge. So now he's 8 months, so I have to use like almost 2 arms to carry him, and he definitely does not go like this anymore. And another thing I see a lot on TikTok is like giving your baby a tour of the house. So showing him the plants, for example. There's my burrow tail. I forgot what this is called already. Oh, yeah. Anyways, just showing him your plants. If you have a bunch like me, I think it's really sweet. And showing them the curtains, just like naming things so that he can get used to hearing the English language if that's what you speak. And yeah, reading is also another thing that's been really emphasized. Apparently there's a study done that Gen Zs aren't reading to their children, and I can understand it can be hard because we're short on time, but they really emphasize reading because you're going to read thousands of words that they won't hear if you're just speaking in regular conversation with them, and that will help obviously build their vocabulary eventually, but just expand the mind. And also them looking at pictures is really helpful for visual aid and colors and learning and exploring shapes and other objects. So yeah, reading is super important. I've been reading him adult books or young adult books. I've been reading to him books that I usually read just because it's easier. So if you do struggle with reading to your child, you could try older books or books for elderly people. I'm just kidding. But you don't have to just read children's books. I think even reading adult books can be helpful. And he loves looking at the pictures. There are some pictures in this. It's called Dewey the Small Town Library Cat Who Touched the World. And it's a very sweet book. There's a sequel to it, but we're about halfway there. And it's basically about this cat who was found in the library chute, which is crazy. So you can even read non-children's books. I think if it's easier for you, like it is for me, at least they're hearing more words and your voice as well, which is super important. So yeah, I've been reading this book called Dewey, the Small Town Library Cat Who Touched the World, and it's a very sweet book. It's about how this little kitten, not a kitten anymore in this photo, but when he first showed up at the library, someone left him in the library chute, and the librarian found him, and they thought he was a gray cat because he was so dusty, and then they cleaned him all off, and he's actually this beautiful like orange striped cat, and he's not shy, he loves people, and yeah, they eventually took him in and he became the library cat. So I love how it talks about how often elderly people are more lonely because as you get older, unfortunately, more people die, more people that just happen to pass away, and that's just life. So you'll get more lonely. So for those elderly people, they go to the town library and they just sit there, and Dewey comes up to them, sits on their lap, and he lets them pet him, and I think it's so sweet because it helps them feel more loved and unconditionally loved, which is so important for everyone to have that feeling. And the children love him, so all the kids will try to play this game called Where's the Cat and try to find the cat in the library, and they even bring in Dewey during story time, which I think just engages the children even more. And it's just such a lovely story about how sometimes you'll find love and just unexpected surprises in the most unexpected places. and it's a really great book. So yeah, I definitely recommend it, and it talks a lot about the town of Spencer in Iowa, which I never heard of, and about a mom and daughter relationship and how she became a librarian and then eventually wrote to the head of the library, and her story of Dewey and how it affected the whole town and brought so much joy to this small town, especially when the farmers weren't doing well, and Iowa is a big farming state, and it was just a hard time for everyone. So to have this type of joy was really nice, and yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's very cute, young adult, and yeah, as long as you can hear your voice and just hear different vocabulary, I think it's great. Because in the end, they don't really understand what the story is about anyways. Just like it's the emotion behind your voice, and hearing your voice is just soothing to them. And as always, the secret isn't perfection. It never was. I always thought growing up that I need to be perfect in every little thing. That's just because of how I was conditioned to believe, especially in Asian cultures. You have to show face, but I realized that it's not gonna make me happy, and that's honestly the most important thing in life is, are you gonna be happy if you're faking it most of the time? No. So it's not about perfection, it's about presence and showing up. And yeah, whatever little things you can do to show up for your kid, I think that's so important. And showing up consistently, I think it's so important. I remember so when I was younger, my brother and I were mostly taken care of by my grandma, and that's why I'm so close to her. I wouldn't really see my mom that much because she would work from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So we would barely see her, and my dad would also be working, not as long, but he was in his own world and he had a bunch of hobbies. So it was mostly me, my brother, and my grandma. But I do remember, and what I appreciate most about my mom, even though she was working these long hours and I didn't really get time to really bond with her, was that she would always show up to every school event I had. So whether that's like musicals, plays, choir, any event in elementary school, I remember my mom was always there. She would always make time, and I was really appreciative of that because I knew. Maybe I didn't know, but now that I'm older, I know that she was so busy with work. So for her to make that time consistently and just show up every time really meant a lot to me. And yeah, like my dad would never go to those things, but my mom would. She would always be there. And it's nice as a child to see that your parents care about you and they're willing to show up for you. And you can see a familiar face in the crowd, because I'm sure you've seen those movies where it's like the parent never shows up and the child's looking at the crowd, or the child's looking at the crowd and the parents never show up, and they're disappointed. And of course they are, because you expect your parents to be there for you to celebrate every moment. Okay, so it is like 20. Oh my god. Okay, so it's 28 degrees in this room. It's always so hot. This is the hottest room in the house. I don't know why. Maybe the AC or something doesn't work in here. But I don't do well with heat, so I need to take a break. It literally says I have a fan on in here. It's not on because I'm recording, but it says 28 degrees. And in the hallway, it's so cool, but for some reason in here, I'm boiling. Oh yeah, and this is a fan I got from Raquel and Tim's wedding. They're one of her cousins. And shout out to Raquel. She actually listens to my podcasts and she's so supportive and sweet. So thank you. And yeah, beautiful fan, and was so smart. Such a smart gift. Such a smart wedding favor, especially in the summer heat. Most of the weddings we go to are in the summer. So they placed this out on the chairs for the ceremony outside, and it saved us. So yeah, and I still have it, and they're beautiful. They're like wooden, and they even have their engraving on it, and beautiful. Okay, we're gonna pass out of the heat. Okay, so what are the joys of raising children? Apparently this is another Google's top question. And honestly, there's so many. Like, their first milestones are huge. Like, when you hear of other children's milestones, or when you hear of other parents experiencing their baby's milestones, you don't really know the feeling of to see your own child reach their milestones, and it's just so exciting. It also makes you so proud because you made that. And even if you didn't, even if you adopted, like you created the environment and the conditions for them to be able to learn to do these things, and I think that's so cool. So like the first word could be mama. His first words were hi, hello, hey. He still says them. I think because I always say that to him. What's the other one? Still sweating. But anyways, mama was definitely in the top 5 first words. It started off with just ma, and then I was like, oh, they mama, and then he started saying it, and it's so cute. He doesn't do it all the time, but I still count that as a win. He hasn't said dada yet. He says, oh my, just because me and John always say hi, or oh my word. We say that. We just, I don't know. We're funny. We come up with, growing up, I always came up with like weird words. Oh, Hermie jokes, or just like words that like don't make sense but are funny to me, and then I'll say them over and over again. If you ask my brother, he'll tell you he was probably annoyed by all the weird words I would come up with, and I would say them over and over again just because I thought they were so funny, and I still do that till this day. There you go. And yeah, so when you hear your child's first words, it doesn't matter what they're doing. If they're screaming and crying for 4 hours, they're automatically forgiven, because that is just like unreal. It's just surreal and makes you so happy, especially when they say mama. So, and yeah, the personality emerging is also like one of my favorite things, because it's just so funny. There's so many photos of him being funny. I think there was one time we were at a restaurant with John's mom, and he rolled his eyes at her and she started cracking up, because it's just so funny to see little babies do this. And I think she was trying to do gaga or play with him, like, you know, what that you do with babies, and he just rolled his eyes. And there's just other photos where he'll put his hand behind his head, and then he'll stick out his tongue, and he'll do it in I don't know, an F-boy way, but he's like a baby, so it's really funny. He has like a double chin, and he's like looking up, and he's looking so funny. He has a funny look. And then, oh, this other one, my mom says I do the evil eye, which I don't think it's evil. It's just like the side eye. I get the side eye. I'm like, and I guess I've done it enough times where my son has learned that. So I think he was like a couple months old, and he did the side eye, and then he smiled. So now it's a sticker. You can do stickers on iPhones, and it's like basically a GIF. So it's so funny. But them like growing a personality is just, it's just so funny to me, because obviously when they're a baby, like they can't really do much. They'll roll around and they'll talk and babble, but the personality is just chef's kiss. And I'm late again. It's 29 degrees now, guys. Okay, I honestly don't know how long this puppy. Let's see. And yeah, these aren't just milestones, but they're a celebration of life. Every milestone that you hit, every milestone that your baby hits is a reminder that, hey, they're alive and they're thriving. And I think that's so exciting. And they're becoming this whole person right in front of your eyes. And you gotta just soak it all in, because they're growing way too fast. Like again, I remember when he was just so small and I just hold him with one hand, but now he's huge and he's like a big boy now. So you just gotta soak up every moment. So another top Google question is, how does parenting change your perspective? How does parenthood change your perspective? And oh man, where do I start? It changes your whole entire life, let me tell you. So like I said, growing up, I was like a bit tomboyish. So I don't know, I never related to soccer moms. I thought it was a bit cringy, but maybe that's because millennials back in the day would make fun of soccer moms. But yeah, I just didn't seem cool. They would also make fun of a lot of women in general. So the misogyny. But yeah, I just never related to stay-at-home moms. I was like, why would you want to do that? But I just never knew the joys of having children. And now that I'm older and I have my own son, I'm like, yeah, I'd love to stay at home with him, because in Canada, you can get a year of maternity leave or up to 18 months, and that's seriously amazing. If I was still in the States, my mom said you got, 13 weeks? I don't think that's humane. And then you have to use up the rest of your vacation if you want more. And it's, girl, your body is not even healed yet. So, wild. They need to get on that. Those kind of laws are ancient history and disgusting, honestly, at this point. And yeah, it's crucial for parents to be there for their child, especially in the first couple of years of their life. They're learning so much and so fast, and they need you. So for America to take them away, like, that's a no. I learned a lot from staying at home. For example, the patience I didn't know I had. You definitely learn a lot about patience, and honestly, when you become a mom for the first time, you learn how to put yourself first, because, I don't know, I think there's a scientific study that says, we should actually, according to Google, scientific research shows that new mothers' brains change structurally to become more efficient at caring for their infants. And women experience reductions in brain gray matter particularly in areas that related to social processing, which can increase sensitivity to infant needs and threats. So you're more focused on the baby, which makes sense, and less on other people's opinions, whether that's about you, about the baby, etc. Yeah, I noticed that specifically for me, when I first had Ace, I was definitely more, I guess you would say like selfish, but honestly, like I had to learn how to put myself first because I was going through so much. I had a C-section, he was breech, his feet were down, so I was, recovering, and still am. And recoveries for C-section takes longer. But even if you have a vaginal birth, you're still recovering for a while. So you're going through that and taking care of a baby and learning how to be a parent for the first time and taking care of yourself. That's a lot. So you have to learn how to put yourself first. Otherwise, it's just gonna be very difficult for you. I remember how important showers were. They saved my mental health, especially in the beginning. I think I had a bit of postpartum depression. I just felt disconnected to everything. I felt numb. I don't think I was bonding with him in the way I wanted to, and that really sucks. It was just so hard, and he was crying all the time, and it was very difficult for both John and I. He's amazing, and he was laughing, and he doesn't have stomach problems, which were a huge issue in the beginning. He couldn't take regular formula, so we had to give him. He now drinks Similac Alimentium, which lifesaver. He takes really well too, but we found that he does even better with purees and real foods, and he loves his fruits. He'll eat any fruits that I eat, like grapes. I've been giving him Concord grapes, yes, fancy. They're from the Niagara wineries, and they're so good. I'll peel off the skin because he doesn't have teeth, and he'll eat the inside, which is like green and nice and soft and juicy, and he loves it. He also enjoys like scraping his little teeth at the bottom on watermelon and cantaloupe he's tried, cherries he's tried. I would take out the pit, obviously. I always take out the seeds. Mandarins, I take out the seeds and he just chews on them, and sometimes I'll just pick out the little flesh pieces for him to eat. And he just loves his fruit. Bananas. Yeah, I think he's pretty much had most of the fruits that we have here. And he's just a fruit lover in a kitchen movie. And yeah, we love our fruits. So we definitely got that from me because John is not a fruit lover. He hates fruits. I think he only eats apples and bananas. So yeah, it is what it is. He got it from his mom. We love our fruits. But yeah, you learn how to put yourself first. So whether that's making sure you get a shower in every day, doesn't matter what's happening, like you get a shower in, I'll have John watch him, and it just rejuvenate your whole body because your body's like in pain. I'm recovering, especially in the beginning, I'm recovering from my C-section, and just having that nice shower just really rejuvenates the whole body, and I did not realize how much I needed it. Yeah, it's really great. And I'll listen to really positive like words, affirmations in the shower too, which really helps my brain because growing up I've always had a very negative way of thinking. It's always anxiety based, and anything that could possibly go wrong I would think of. So rewiring my brain every time I shower really helps. So I think another thing with having a baby, so we're like the first generation, or the first in our generation to have like kids. So out of all of John's cousins and also my side that I know of, yeah, we had the first baby, and so that's huge. And John's family really loves babies, so whenever we go to his titas or titos parties, which is like aunt or uncle, everyone gets a turn to hold him, which I think is so nice because it's, as much as I love him, so much need a break. I'm sure anyone who's ever taken care of a pet or a child understands. You just need a little break to decompress. And it's so nice to see other people love your child as much as you do. I think it's just so heartwarming. So I really love that. And it's nice to see him get used to people because he had this phase where he was getting like anxiety to strangers, which is apparently really common around the 6-7 months range to 12 months when they get separation anxiety from you and they start recognizing strangers' faces. So it's really important for us that he gets used to people, because when we go on vacation or anything like that, we don't want him screaming and crying or just being stressed about it in general. And yeah, it's nice to have a village basically, or people that love your child as much as you do. I also have one of my best friends here, Tammy. She really loves children too, and when she came over, like, he was like laughing. I've never seen him laugh like that with anyone else. So she has really just the baby touch, and I thought it was very sweet and nice. And yeah, in the ways that I expected them to be there. So it's nice to have people who, yeah, just love your baby as much as you do, and I think it's really sweet. Another top Googled question is, how can I stay connected while working? And I can't really answer this question yet because I have not experienced this yet, and I do not want to. I'm really dreading going back to work. This job that I have is I work in compliance and the waste management. Basically, Ontario's trying to go zero waste, so we're managing companies who are trying to meet their recycling targets. But the idea of being ripped away from him is just killing me inside, and I don't want to send him to daycare because I don't know, it's just, you just can't see him, and I know what he needs, so it's hard for me to let go of that. And especially when he smiles every time we come in the room or like he sees us, it's just very hard to imagine him not with us. Because so we went to Coldplay when they came in July, and yeah, he was just not doing well. I think that's when his stranger anxiety started, or separation anxiety from us. He loves John's mom, but I think because he's so used to us now that, and he realizes that we can go away and maybe he thinks we won't come back, he was just screaming his head off and not eating and not sleeping and just crying, and it was very hurtful to hear that. So it's been really hard for me to be away from him. We were all supposed to go to the Blackpink concert, but I just skipped out. I was like, I just saw my ticket, I can't. So yeah, I can't imagine this going back to work, but I think as long as, before starting maternity leave, I was mostly work from home anyways, so if we can keep that, then I'll be Gucci for the most part. Yeah, we'll probably just try to look for a nanny because I think it'll be hard to work and take care of him at the same time. And I'm mostly taking calls, so that will be difficult. They probably don't want to hear a baby crying. So yeah. But yeah. So I've heard of moms in the US on TikTok saying, there's this really emotional video of this mom, she was bawling her eyes out understandably. She just dropped off her 13-week-old baby. And I'm like, 13 weeks? I cannot imagine that. Baby's so small and so vulnerable, and without the mom it's just so hard. And obviously she has to do it because she has to make money and the family needs food and stuff. So that's just heartbreaking and inhumane. So the US really needs to get on their maternity leave laws. It's just ridiculous at this point. It's 2025. Come on. But yeah, I think there's some daycares where they even have cameras installed now, so you can just check in with an app, which honestly puts my mind at ease, but also is a little nerve-wracking because what if people can hack it and see? So I try not to think too much about that. But I think that would be nice to be able to check in. But I'm just hoping we can get a nanny, so we'll see. Yeah, but yeah, the guilt is real. It's you built this incredible bond with your child, and now you just have to leave. Work's calling you, now you have to go and just be ripped away from your child. I think it's horrible. And you have to be productive at the same time, which I don't know. I don't know how parents or new moms do this in general. It just does not seem humane at all. And then it becomes the 6 to 9 p.m. That's the only quality time you have left with your child, or that 30 minutes in the morning. And man, that's 30 hours and 30 minutes is really small. And just capitalism, I'm so over it. Bye. We need more time with our families and our children. It's just natural for us to have more time with them. So we need to stop putting productivity in place of having time with family. And the 2-day weekends. It's time. It's time to extend those as well. Because everyone knows Saturday is, you can do whatever you want, and then Sunday is chore day. So it's what, you get one day? No. I don't think we evolved for millions of years. I don't think we evolved for this long to just do this, to work. Doesn't seem, the math isn't math. And of course, there's always the struggle of being the good mom and your career. I think there's studies that show that moms often lose out on promotions and raises compared to men when they have children. And that's just sad. Yeah, it is a difficult choice for many moms out there. I wanted to talk about some other exciting moments are celebrations. Hopefully you can see this. Let's see. This is a photo of us at Mandarin, and it was my birthday around April. And yeah, there he is. He's so small then. He's so tiny. And they actually came up to me twice because they're like, oh, did we do your birthday yet? And I was like, yeah, you already did. Thank you. So I thought it was really cute. He was not having a good time, unfortunately. I think at that point we didn't really know how to put him to sleep properly. Honestly, the best way to put him to sleep is like breastfeed him, and then he falls asleep. We didn't really know what we were doing, so he was not happy most of the time, but he was so cute. And I love his outfit, his little striped outfit. All the clothes we get him are from Facebook Marketplace. They're like secondhand, and it just makes sense. Like, why buy expensive clothes when they just grow out of them in 2 seconds? And so many parents are trying to get rid of their baby's clothes, so yeah, you can get it for so much cheaper there. And it's just so cute. And honestly, I'm plain in this photo, so yeah. We love the Vietnamese rice patty hat. It could be Chinese too, but friend said it was Vietnamese, so I don't know. I think it's so cute. But yeah, I think the celebrations are even more special when you have a child. Like, for example, Christmas is my favorite time of the year. So I am just daydreaming about Christmas time with my son, and like, it's gonna be like a real family for the first time. Because when we first moved in, we moved around Christmas, like literally Christmas week. So we didn't really get time to spend time in our Christmas. Like, we didn't get to spend time or Christmas in our home because we're unpacking still. And most Christmases are spent at John's, like Tito's or Tito's, which is really lovely because it's like a huge family and I love it. But I'm excited to decorate the house and have Ace with me and watch all our movies. So we watch like Elf, Home Alone, Jingle All the Way, and just all the movies I think would be lovely. And it's just so cozy, and I love Christmas lights. It just makes it so much more magical. And to have a child, I think it's just so much better. And I guess when he realizes what presents are, it'll be even more magical. But for now, I think it's so cute and so heartwarming because I've always wanted my own family and to make my own family. And yeah, I've always wanted to have a family that would love me unconditionally. And to have that now is a true gift. So I don't need anything else for Christmas. And yeah, I think it's just so sweet, and I'm so excited for Christmas, and it's just a cozy time. So I'm very excited, but I've been excited to experience every season. So like he was born in December, so experienced winter, but not the fun part of winter, the full part, like after Christmas. And then we experienced spring. Spring is very short in Canada, very really even here. Summer was very eventful. We went to my friend's wedding, and he was actually so good on the plane. We got him noise canceling headphones, and they really helped, and he just really enjoyed looking everywhere, everything happening at the airport and on the plane. He's like his father, he loves airports. And so I'm very grateful for that because I was dreading flying, but he really enjoyed it, and he was so good. Honestly, I think past the 6-month mark, once we really knew what we were doing, he's just so much better now, and his tummy doesn't hurt anymore, and he's laughing and crawling, and he's so cute. But yeah, motherhood didn't just change my dreams, it gave me new ones. And for the mothers out there, it's okay to feel torn between your career, motherhood, for having friends, having a life. There's just so much to balance. And I think especially in the beginning, like, your children are your whole life. So it's very hard to find balance with that in general because you're learning so much. Anyways, I want to hear your stories. Doesn't matter here how messy it is. I want to hear your beautiful stories, so if you want to share that in the comments or DM me on Instagram at The Thoughtful Advocate, I'd love to hear it, and any unexpected moments in motherhood that really changed you. So thank you for joining me on this beautiful, chaotic, but amazing moment that we call motherhood or parenthood. And yeah, again, drop me a comment, slide in my DMs, or send a carrier pigeon. However you connect, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. And remember, there's not one way to be a perfect parent, but there's a million ways to love your child. And until next time, keep celebrating those small moments and big feelings. You're doing amazing. So yeah, thanks for listening to the Thoughtful Advocate podcast. See ya.
Okay, so today's sponsor is Kind Laundry. Just kidding, they're not really a sponsor, but I do have an affiliate code. Kind Laundry use natural ingredients, and it actually comes in these sheets. So much more useful than liquid laundry detergent because that stuff gets messy. With Kind Laundry, you can bring this anywhere. It's literally in a box, pack in your suitcase, and it's that easy. You can get 10% off by using code ZeroWasteCute.